Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I'm a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too, because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel, my channel, and our channel is Holistic Manifesting, because I believe it takes a whole body, whole mind, whole being experience in order to manifest the lives that we choose, right? So, what I'm talking about today is 5 signs that you are being valued, right? So this can be applied to a romantic relationship. This can be with a friendship. This can be in the workplace. This can be with your children. This can be with your family of origin. This is just an overall outline of ways that people value your existence. They value your presence in their space, right? So let's get to it. Number 1, and I have notes here, but they're paper notes, so I'm going to kind of read them a little. A person asks questions about your childhood, your family, your upbringing. They want to learn a lot about you because they feel a genuine connection. Now, this is something that's been proven true to me over time. I used to be a person that's like, oh, who wants to do small talk? I'm still very much so like that. But at the same time, I pay attention now to what people's small talk may be. So it depends what they're asking me or what I'm asking them, whether there's some profound connection or some profound information being shared, right? But what I do find is that people will ask you about yourself. They will ask you, what was your childhood like? What were your parents like? What were your siblings like? What did y'all used to do when you played around on the weekend? Just little things. I ask these questions too because I just want to know what went into the person that sits before me. I'm so impressed with the being that's in front of me that I'm wondering what is the story behind that. Unless you have a book on your life, then there's only one way to find out is for me to inquire. So keep that in mind. If you're ever around people and it's been an extended period of time and they don't ask you anything about you, I noticed that about some friends way later on, and I didn't notice until years after being in friendships, right? I was like, this person never ever initiates conversation or asks me anything about my life, my kids, what's going on, ever. And so you'll start to notice that, right? They don't really care to get to know you. They're just using you as another person to chat with and to dump their life on, right? Number 2 is they seek to understand you before they vilify you. So when someone values you or an environment values you, like if it's a workplace especially, they seek to understand something that went wrong rather than making it seem like you're just this big screw up who makes mistakes, So they look to understand whatever move you made or what they don't understand, or like a conversation. Have you ever heard someone saying someone thought you said something behind their back and the person who heard it just ran with it like as if, yeah, I know her, she's no good. But it tells you something. What it tells you is that this person does not see me fully. They don't fully value me because when given the first opportunity that showed up at their doorstep of whether or not they should give me the benefit of the doubt or they should throw me under the bus, they decided to throw me under the bus. So you just want to keep that in mind. It's like that's when you know that you're not being valued. And if that's the workplace, it's the same thing. It's like, you did something at work and it's the first time you messed up in in forever or not at all. And the first thing they do is start to treat you like you're a second-class citizen as opposed to try to figure out why did the mistake happen. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're good. We already understand that you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And so it's if it's not that, then that lets you know that they're not valuing you. They're trying to find a reason to get you revved up and to get you out of there, right? Number 3 is you are comfortable sharing your talents and dreams and they're indulged in and applauded, right? So when you're in environments where you're being valued, when you can feel comfortable with sharing, like some plans you have, some hopes and dreams you have, some things that you want to create, some ways that you want to develop your life or expand yourself, whatever it is, and people applaud it. Not only do they applaud it, they congratulate it, they indulge it, they ask you questions about it. Are you still working on that thing? What about that thing? Are you still working on that? And then, of course, you'll do the same thing with them. But you'll know when you're valued when you see someone you haven't seen them, say it's a week and it's at work, and then you see them again and they're like, hey, what about that article you were working on? How's that going? You're just like, oh, wow, right? Nobody asked me about that stuff. Thank you for asking. Right? So you just want to keep that in mind. That's a good telltale sign, right? Number 4 is you can take a break from them or the environment, the person, place, or thing without them being angry or without them being hurt. Now, I've had this issue plenty of times in my life because I like to take breaks from people because I think it's healthy. And I think when I take breaks, I give the best version of myself. I get to be the best version of myself, right? So I take breaks, but I noticed when I began first with that self-care behavior in the past, it used to sometimes get me in trouble because people would be like, where were you? Where? But it wasn't that I was trying to do anything to them. I was trying to do something for me. And I think that's sometimes an issue with people, whether they value you or not. Sometimes they don't realize that your acts of self-care have nothing to do with causing pain for them. It has only to do with you making sure you're not sacrificing yourself and that you can be the best version of yourself for everybody around you, right? So you just want to keep that in mind. You can take a break and they're not angry or they're not hurt. They're like, I understand. You got to go hit the reset button. It's all good. And they're not like, oh, I can't believe so-and-so. You know, they just go take a break too. Go find something else to do because that's healthy, right? And then number 5 is you don't have to do anything to be liked or loved, right? So we just want to keep that in mind. Like, so many environments we get in and we decide, okay, I'm the breadwinner here. I'm the cook. I'm the person that makes everybody laugh. And we attach these little things to our personalities that kind of boost us up and make us feel good about ourselves. But at the same time, when we're in environments and those things are being latched onto as the only thing that's valuable about what you bring to the table, then we almost regret it, right? I had a friend who used to sing all the time, and this was way back in high school. And I remember we used to sit on the bleachers and stuff like that, and we would sit for like lunch and all that stuff. And people would always ask her to sing songs, right? Well, one day she came to school, she was, had a sore throat. She had like some type of laryngitis or whatever it was. People didn't really stay home for every sickness back in the day. And I remember her not being able to sing and how like nobody was crowding around her that day. Nobody was looking for her. And that's like a flashback memory, but it just reminds me that you want to be in environments where you don't have to be anything. You don't have to give anything. You don't have to do anything. Just your presence and the beauty and the essence of you existing in their space is more than enough for them, right? And a lot of people say, well, that's not always, possible because everybody wants something. That may be true, but sometimes wanting something can just be the company of someone else. It can just be sitting in the same space with them. It could just be sharing the day, right? So if you never feel like you need to perform or you never feel like you need to do anything extra in order for someone to say, oh, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. That's how you know you're being valued, because what you have to offer will change over time. Like, you can first meet someone and have a whole lot of money, and then you have that to offer when you first meet them, and then that's part of who you are, right? And then as time goes on, you don't have that same amount of money. Well, they're gonna stop valuing you? A lot of people would. But if a person, place, or thing really values you when you don't have anything anymore, it makes no difference to them because they weren't there because of what you were giving to them. They're there because they care about you as a person, right? So you just want to make sure you're paying attention to those 5 things when it comes to whether or not you're being valued. And this can be for the workplace. This can be friends, family, kids, husbands, wives, all that stuff, right? And then I know there's some other things you would add to the list too. Like, well, how do you know that you're being valued? Because sometimes we say this stuff and we're like, make sure you know your value, make sure you know your worth. And we shout out these things to people, but we never really give concrete information behind it to say, this is how you would know if someone valued you, right? These are some things that might pop up. It may not be all of them. It may not be perfect, but you can get an idea of where this is going, right? So people ask a lot of questions about you when they want to know, like, who are you? They're very curious, right? They seek to understand you before they would ever vilify you. They want to know what's going on in your head. Like, they give you the benefit of the doubt, right? They are comfortable showing, you're comfortable sharing your talents and your dreams and your hopes and maybe not all your plans, because we like to move in silence, but you're comfortable sharing information and you know that it'll be reciprocated and applauded and all that good stuff. And then you can take a break from them without them getting, horribly offended. That's been something that I've had to work on with people over the years. But, just saying, you don't own me, you don't control me. If I want to take 2 weeks away from talking to people, I can do that, And then the last one is you don't have to do anything to be liked or loved. And you already know this, right? I hear people say that a lot. If it wasn't for what I was providing, what I was doing, what I was giving, people wouldn't like or love me. That's a terrible place to be in. We should all be valued for the person that we are. And if we're bringing something to the table, it should always be known that there may be a day that we may not be able to bring that thing to the table, but we should still be liked and loved and valued for who we are as a person, as a sentient being, right? nonetheless, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and keep on manifesting magic.